Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. Looking forward to our chanting, meditations, and Dharma Talk. Of course, we're continuing elaborating on one of my teachings in my book, number 47 in the book out of 50. And so I thought we can continue doing this to discuss and sort of have commentary on those four preliminary contemplations, of which we've covered the first three already. And that's the contemplation on the precious human life, contemplation on impermanence, contemplation on the law of karma. We finished last week. I think we did 5 weeks on that. And we will begin today the contemplation on the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. Now, I just remind you that the first three of those I worked off, or we worked off, I should say, articles that I'd written. But I don't have an article for this fourth one. When I actually thought about it many years ago now, I actually wrote an article on interdependent origination. So the 12 links of dependent origination. Okay, so we're going to have a look at that maybe in a few weeks. Okay, and so because that relates, it relates to cyclic existence, to samsara. The 12 links sort of bring it all together, you could say. It's also a good way to look at the law of karma, to understand the law of karma, and also to break through everything and realize the emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so I thought I'd mention that. So what I've done for the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence about 6 weeks ago now, I think, I just jotted down some notes just before a class. So I haven't read them since. So just bear with me. I'm just going to fly blind today, but the notes, I'm sure, are accurate. I know they're accurate, but and they're big enough, actually, probably to read without my reading glasses, which is a good thing. I wrote down 3 foolscap pages of them, but like I said, big writing, just point notes. And so we'll utilize that for this part of the commentary. And I'm not sure how long it'll take. It could just be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks. No more than 4, I imagine. So what I thought I'd do to start the class today, even before chanting, is I will read to you that teaching, and then I'll put it to bed, okay? And then also I will read to you the following teaching. After we have the commentary on the interdependent origination, utilizing that article, then it goes on to another teaching, of which includes the 6 parameters, of which we've learned already. So I can sort of like paraphrase those and give you a little bit of a refresher course on them, and other points as well, as you will see from me reading it to you. So going out of order today, not doing the chanting until after I read you these things. Okay. If we sincere, or actually the quote that the explanation or the teaching comes from is, every day is a good day, every moment is a good moment, a great opportunity to practice the Buddha Dharma and bring benefit to all sentient beings. If we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma, moment to moment, day to day, then every moment will be a joyful moment. Every day will be a joyful day. When we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma in this human life, our life becomes a precious human life, as we will be making the most of this rare and precious opportunity. We should constantly remind ourselves that we now possess a most valuable, priceless, and precious human birth. This will help us to maintain the inner strength, confidence, joy, and enthusiasm we need to take full advantage of this rare opportunity. We should be careful not to waste our lives by being distracted by superficial worldly concerns, so that we can emulate the great sages and masters of the past and truly believe with confidence that we can follow in their footsteps and make our lives truly meaningful and worthwhile. And so the contemplation of these 4 aspects or points helps us enable ourselves to realize true renunciation. In other words, turning your mind directly to the Dharma and to realizing eventually the fruit of the path, which is enlightenment. Really work our way towards the Dharma, towards the truth, the ultimate truth eventually. And of course, once we realize this renunciation, much easier to develop the bodhicitta beyond limit, to disperse of all of the mental afflictions, or get rid of all of the mental afflictions, to traverse the 10 stages on the Bodhisattva path after we realize the supreme wisdom. So this helps us to realize the bodhicitta, the great compassion, as well as realize the supreme wisdom. Okay, so there's a sort of like method that I'm utilizing here, and I didn't decide to do this way until I read these teachings in order. Okay, in these two in order. Makes sense. Okay, so I'm happy that I did, and I realized that at that time. Otherwise, we'd have finished the book already, and we'd have moved on to Master Atisha's teachings already. But that's something to look forward to after we cover these points, of which are included in Master Atisha's teachings as well. Okay, so the next one says, every day is a lovely day, every moment a lovely moment. It depends on your attitude. Now, of course, I'm talking mainly about the bodhicitta attitude. If you maintain a positive and loving attitude, whether or not you are experiencing pleasure or pain, gain or loss, fame or shame, or praise or blame, then every moment will be a lovely moment. Every day will be a lovely day. Enthusiastically and joyfully be generous, moral, and patient, and diligently develop clear concentration and wisdom. Maintain a positive outlook in your life. Have faith and confidence in yourself. Have faith and confidence that you can truly be compassionate and wise. So just briefly, that obviously covers the 8 worldly winds and what we need to relinquish and to keep our sort of practice pure, as mentioned in the verse 8 of the 8th verse of thought transformation. And we'll have a little look at that again. And then, of course, enthusiastically and joyfully practice generosity, morality, patience, and diligence, and concentration and wisdom. So the 6 paramitas again, of which the first 5 relate to the bodhicitta, and the 6th one is the ultimate bodhicitta, or the wisdom aspect. And then another thing to sort of be aware of here is we're talking also about faith, the different types of faith, and perfect faith, faith in yourself, eventually, to actually really understand the truth. Okay, so that'll do for the minute. I just thought I'd do that for a little bit of variety, but also to make a point right at the start of the class. And remember the 3 principles of the path, or the 3 principal paths, you can express it both ways, are renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. Or realizing, turning your mind directly to the Dharma and away from worldly things, giving up attachment, and then developing this great compassion and eventually realizing the supreme wisdom. All right. So now it's time to forget everything I just said, because you will remember it. Okay. In your own time, you will remember it. And if you don't, then we've always got the video to review, haven't we? So let's do the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, about to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, about to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, about to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, about to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Om Gate Gate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Tayata Om Gate Gate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Tayadom gate gate parasamgate bodhisoha. So the great compassion mantra, Mane Padme Hum, which literally can be translated as the jewel in the lotus, Mani, jewel, Padme, lotus, Om, the first syllable, representing the enlightened actions of a Buddha from a Buddhist perspective. The enlightened speech. Enlightened mind, thoughts, so forth. Well, not really thoughts. But also, starts out, we have mental afflictions we need to purify. We need to realize the jewel in the lotus. Mani Padme, practicing the Dharma like this, eventually realizing the purification of mind. And then, of course, we have the Heart Sutra mantra. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha, utilized for many, many reasons and purposes, but really means the realization of the supreme wisdom. Go beyond the worldly, go beyonding, you like that? And then to the path of accumulation, to accumulate vast amounts of merits and develop the Bodhicitta. And then onto the path of preparation, preparing the mind to understand the nature of reality, onto the path of insight, developing a glimpse of the ultimate truth, the wisdom of emptiness, then the path of habituation or meditation, absorbing your mind with this understanding fully, and then onto the path of no more learning, where you are Buddha. Okay, so that's one way of explaining Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. And I've explained it before to you, so just reminding. All right, so let's do some meditation now before we have a discussion on the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. So get yourself comfortable physically. No matter what posture you're in physically, keep your mind upright. Obviously, you can sit on the floor, the flat floor if you like, cross-legged, full lotus position, where both bottoms of the feet are pointing upwards. The tops of the feet resting on the opposite thighs, so on. Or the half lotus, where the left leg is on the bottom, right on top. On doing this with a cushion under your butt to keep your lower back straight. Or doing it on a couch or a chair, or just sitting like a normal position. You would sit on a chair or a couch. Or reclining if you need to is fine. Like I said, though, keep your mind upright. Bring your mind inside the body, and let's release the tension from the body. I won't give you all the finer details today, because I do want to get into the commentary without rushing, of course. So release the tension from your lower leg, feet. And your upper leg. Your midsection. Upper torso. To the shoulders and down to the tips of your fingers. And to the top of your head. And now when you are ready, scan your body again mentally to see if there's any tension that you can release that you haven't released yet. And if there is, do so. And when you've done this, bring your attention now to initially the tip of your nose. The object of the meditation is the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out of your nose again. Breathing in through in your nose. The air is quite cool as it passes your throat on the way in, past your bronchial area. Lungs fill with the air as you breathe in, and then they compress as you breathe out. Air is quite cool as it passes your throat on the way out your nose. So breathing in, breathing out. You can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 up to 10. Don't count past 10. Once you get to 10, go back to 1. Or if you get distracted on the way to 10, go back to 1 at that time. But we don't want the counting to be the focus. We want the breath to be the focus. The counting will help us keep focused on the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. If thoughts arise, don't cling to them or grasp at them. Don't try to force them away or deny them. But simply replace your mind back onto your breath. And as you do so, let them go. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So now as we engage in this short breath meditation, try to keep your body still. This will help you to keep your mind still and vice versa. Also try to do that while we do the loving kindness meditation in a short while too. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. Often recall the past is gone. The present moment is fleeting. And the future never arrives. Do your best to remain in the present by focusing on the breath as you breathe in, breathe out. If you focus on the past, it gives rise to worry. If you're focusing in the future, it gives rise to anxiety. In this present moment, we are peaceful. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness. Utilize the visualization technique of filling our whole being with the white light, or if you prefer, nectar. Or if you find this difficult or don't want to utilize the visualization, then make sure you go with the good feeling. Fill yourself with the feeling of universal loving kindness. But I think the visualization helps. And like I've said before, we're always visualizing something, always having some sort of image in our mind anyway. So let's utilize that to train the mind, in this case, to be more loving and kind. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards from your heart center to the beings in front of you, initially your loved ones, your family and friends, filling them with the universal loving kindness too. And also to strangers. When we do this type of visualization of the beings in front of us, just pick a few, or even one right now. And then, of course, as we go through the meditation practice, we expand the mind eventually to all living beings. So it's strangers, fill them with the universal love and kindness. And those beings you may regard as enemies too, fill them with the universal love and kindness as well. Have the wish that they are happy, all of these people, free from suffering and are peaceful. And also have the same wish for all living beings as we go through the practice. So let's radiate this love and kindness now out distance-wise, starting around our immediate area to all living beings now, not just humans. Living beings that live on the land, in the waters, fly through the air, whether born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Whether you can see them or not, whether you're aware of them or not. And now throughout your whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And all of the countries throughout the world, as well as all of the oceans, down to the core of the earth, to the outermost atmosphere, and beyond this planet, throughout the whole solar system, and galaxy, and universe, and even other realms of existence throughout this universe and beyond. To your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. So keeping this concentrated and loving and kind mind. I say sorry that we're doing such short meditations, but we will make up for this. And in your own time, you should do longer sessions. So let's recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious pure Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And I just recalled before as well that, of course, for quite a few weeks, we did what we called, or what I called, show and tell. Showing some Buddha images, explaining a little bit here and there, things like showing these beads. Actually, John, who's participating with us today, got me some lovely beads and mailed them to me a little while ago. I'll show you those soon as well as some other lovely things. But I just thought we'd stop doing it just for the minute because I wanted to get into and eventually, complete this commentary on these 4 preliminary contemplations, okay? But the next lot of show and tell, apart from some little items here and there, I thought I'd show you around the house. That'll take a little while, okay? And you hopefully you won't get seasick, so I'll bring the computer. I'll be going downstairs to my little spot down there, my little temple, showing Mum in there, in the living room. I just share with you this, first of all, this room actually was Mum's computer room, really. It's like the office in a sense, or the study, if you may call it that. And it's got some things behind here, that don't relate to Dharma. There's some, things that sort of heirlooms in a sense, and things that are precious to Mum and to Dad when he was alive. And then, of course, Mum's books, all of my Dharma books, study books are downstairs in the bookshelves. And all these books here, the Buddhist books mainly, not all, but mainly Mum's copies. And then, of course, I utilized this room because I found it had the best light. It was private enough, quiet enough, I should say. Downstairs, the problem with downstairs is that we have a lot of shadow, a lot of shade, I should say, because we have the trees outside and so forth. But here, up on the second story, we're above the trees, so there's a bit more light and stuff like that. Okay, it would be even better downstairs. It actually would be quieter, but and I've done it, before, but better to do it up here. So I transform this room from the study into the temple, the Zoom temple, and like this tanka here that actually lives in between the kitchen. It's an open plan sort of house, as you'll see when I show it to you, between the kitchen and sort of the hallway and living room. It is a nice bit of wall there that it lives on. This Thai one here lives directly in front of Mum's chair on the wall, and maybe a few meters away. And then, of course, we have the wooden Buddha behind me that lives out on the table in the living room. What else? Some other things here too, some smaller ones here that are in different spots. And but over time, it's funny because I actually have been sharing the classes from when we first started, sharing them as they come along from 2020. And in the beginning, I had terrible backdrop. Everything was crooked. And so I'm glad that I worked out how to use the camera on my computer to work out how to make things look more symmetric, because I think it's very helpful to do that. Okay, maybe in the future, I'll make everything crooked again to test your mind, see whether you get upset. That's a joking. Okay, so we've only got about 10 minutes to start, but we've covered quite a lot of stuff already, especially the beginning of the class. And so I wanted to mention these things to you as well, okay? So the show and tell things, yeah, a bit of interest for you, but also to show you, I will explain Dharma as I show you around, especially downstairs. I have a lot of images. Mum has a lot of images in her bedroom too, but maybe we don't go in Mum's bedroom, more privacy for her, and but I'll show you all of the things in the images, what they mean and things like that, okay? Show you outside, the big Buddha outside, veggie garden, where the beach is, that way. All right, so unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. You can see I've got 3 pieces of paper here. Just point notes. So samsara is the Sanskrit and Pali word, okay? We translate that into English as cyclic existence. So it's like the unsatisfactory cyclic existence. It's cycle, obviously, it's like you can depict it with a circle. It doesn't stop. But of course, the Buddha said we can break through the cycle, uproot the ignorance with wisdom, and then we can break out of the cycle. Samsara, I think a lot of people look at it like this. Samsara, I don't need this today. Samsara and nirvana are 2 opposites. But actually, it's not like that. Maybe we can think like that now. We need to free ourselves from samsara because it is unsatisfactory. It continues. It's based on ignorance, attachment, and aversion. It can only ever lead to unsatisfactory things or suffering or whatever you want to call it. But the Buddha said we can free ourselves. So we can maybe at the moment, look at nirvana as the freedom from this samsara. But actually, nirvana, true nirvana, beyond duality. So how can it be the opposite of samsara? Okay? Just like the window is just a window, it's not clean nor dirty. If it's clean, then it can only be clean. If it's dirty, it can only be dirty. But actually just a window beyond that, okay? So samsara is not just, also, it's not like the opposite of enlightenment. And it's not a place. Some people think, oh, nirvana is like a heaven, a pure land, like a heaven, or like a pure land. But it's not a place. It's mental. Everything comes from the mind. Yes, we experience this world. We experience this room I do right now. It is a place. But without my mind, I cannot experience it. So everything is due to the mind. So when we're experiencing samsara, this is mental. When we experience, even though we really can't say it like that, but I will just for convenience, when we experience nirvana or enlightenment, it's mind, it's mental. It's not a physical thing. It's not a, we talk about going to the other shore. We talk about leaving this dangerous shore of samsara and going across, practicing the Dharma, rowing the boat across to the shore of nirvana. Yeah, we talk about that. But this is just teaching, pointing the way. It's like the finger, you know, the teaching often used, finger pointing to the moon. The finger's not the moon. Only get attached to the teaching, only get attached to the finger or the words or even the meaning of the words, then you never realize truth, never realize true nirvana. So it's beyond that, okay? So samsara is not just this world. So it's not just this physical world. Like I said, it's mental. It's an attitude. It's a state of mind, you could say. But also not just this world as in the earth. Samsara is all of these different realms of existence. It's not a geographic location. It's not like, oh, okay, samsara is here at Phillip Island. But over there in Britain, that's nirvana. It's not like that. That's believing in duality. That's believing in this the concept of the enlightenment is somewhere out there, not here. Nor is it just nature. Some people think, oh, this world, it's got nature, trees, mountains, rivers, and so forth. Samsara is that. No. You could say it's part in samsara, part of the world, but only a part, but interconnected with everything else. Okay? Samsara is caused by cause and effect and the conditions that this gives rise to. That's why we contemplate the law of karma or cause and effect first, before we talk about this. Think about this concept as well. The Buddhas have lived, or even we just think one Buddha, our Buddha, Sakyamuni or Gautama from 2,600 years ago approximately. He lived on this world. He lived on this planet. Yet he was free from samsara. Because if he lived on this planet and samsara was a place, then the Buddha wouldn't be free from samsara. So you could say in the world, but not of the world. So can you see that? Hopefully you can understand that. So I'm kind of explaining what samsara is and what it isn't right now as well, okay? Utilizing words, utilizing the meanings of the words. Only a few or 4 or 5 minutes to go. So when I get cut off, that is life. We will continue next week, you know. I'll just keep talking. Maybe telepathically you can listen. Because everything is because of mind. Samsara is a condition of life, but it is not life itself. Remember, samsara comes from law of karma. Karma is created based on ignorance, attachment, and aversion. We haven't freed our minds from these mental afflictions. Free the mind from the mental afflictions, totally uproot the ignorance, you are free from samsara. Escaping from samsara doesn't mean being extinguished any more than it means leaving the city to go on a mountain retreat. So it doesn't mean that we get free from samsara, achieve what we call nirvana, then extinguished, finished, done. It's not like that. Just like if we live in a city, that is, and then you leave the city and go into the nice, peaceful countryside. You can do that, but this is still within samsara. So escaping samsara, we think we can escape. But that's the opposite of not escaping. How do we free ourselves from samsara? Practice the Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, develop the 6 parameters, do all of the things the Buddha said to do. Do all of the things the Buddha did. Follow in the footsteps of the Buddha and all of the great masters. Okay, so I'll repeat that paragraph. Escaping from samsara doesn't mean being extinguished any more than it means leaving the city for a mountain retreat. The cycle of existence is a way of being. Once again, not a place. This is our sort of conditions at the moment. Okay, everything's impermanent. Everything has the nature of being unsatisfactory. There is no self to be found. 3 marks of existence. We have not realized the 4th seal yet of nirvana, of enlightenment. So what I'll do is I'll say thank you for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's class. A little bit more variety. And I see you next week. I rejoice in your goodness always. I know I always say that, but I really, truly mean it. I rejoice in your studies, in your efforts, in your practice, in your sharing of the Dharma, and in your sharing the time with me as well, whether it's online or through text or anything, I really appreciate it. And I rejoice in it. Okay. So if I get cut off, which I probably will in a minute or so, or less than, Namo Buddhaya. Now, the cycle of existence is a way of being. It is the condition of being propelled from the experience of one lifetime